Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone to the Bogota Board of Education Work Session Action Meeting on September 14th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Please stand for the flag salute. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Bogota Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Bogota Borough Hall, communicated by letter to the Bogota Board, to the record, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Bogota, and posted on the Bogota Board of Education website. Erfan, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Alvarez,
Present.
Mrs. Cole,
Here.
Mrs. Lewis,
Here.
Mr. Miranda,
Here.
Mr. Ortega,
Present.
Ms. Record, absent, Mr. Chavez,
Here.
Mrs. Bambury.
Present.
We have the quorum.
Thank you. Also present, Mr. Kennedy, Superintendent, Mr. Sukas, our Attorney, Mr. Efsel, our School Business Administrator and Board Secretary, and Ms. Ruiz, our Assistant Board Secretary. May I have a motion to open the floor for hearing of citizens on agenda items only, please?
Motion Ortega.
Thank you.
Second Chavez.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, if anyone has any questions on agenda items only, I do need your name and address, either if it's public or posted online, please. All right, seeing no one come forward, may I have a motion to close citizens' comments, please?
Chavez.
Thank you. Second?
Second, I mean.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We'll move on now to the superintendent's report.
Okay, first, we were very excited to have students return to buildings last week, driving to work on that Tuesday and seeing the students walk into school was great to see. We were very fortunate that during the hurricane, we didn't have any major damage to our buildings. We were extremely lucky. In fact, a lot of districts in the area, their fields and buildings had a lot of major damage and it held them back, but we were pretty good with a couple of little minor things that we were able to take care of. Great job by our staff and all getting our buildings ready to open. The middle school was a big project this summer between our building and grounds and our IT department. We want to give a special shout out to Victor from our IT department, who did a lot of the networking and the logo design for the middle school. So kudos to him. I sent communication a little earlier today about a positive COVID case that we had. We also had one classroom with some COVID-like symptoms. So on the recommendation of the Department of Health, we are going to be shutting down those two classrooms. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be the norm this year, that we are going to be opening, closing certain classrooms until vaccinations are available to everyone. But, you know, all in all, it was a very positive opening week of school, especially not being in the buildings for over 18 months. So kudos to everyone. Also, everyone is aware that a board seat is open. Just a reminder that anyone that is interested in that, resume should be submitted to the Board of Education office by next Tuesday to Mr. Efsil. Fall sports is back in full swing. We had some great wins last weekend with football, soccer, cross country, and volleyball. Middle school sports will start at the end of the month. We opened up aftercare registration and is expected to start in the next couple of weeks. A reminder that any family that qualifies for free and reduced lunch will receive this program for free. So this is great news for any family that needs the aftercare program. Again, our buildings open at 7:30. The aftercare program will be sending something out to anyone that wants to drop their kid off at 7. They will have to pay for that, but we will be open at 7:30 each morning. Also to clarify, every meal will be free to every student regardless if they are free and reduced. So, but we are asking that everyone fill out the forms. This is very important for us because our federal and state aid, that data is used to compile the figures that we get. So I've got a couple questions. So even if you are denied free and reduced this year, the meals will still be free. So I just wanted to make that very clear. Also, I believe the next couple of weeks is going to determine a lot about which direction we go with the virus. All schools in New Jersey are back. We're doing everything that we can to stay open. We contact with the health department. We're following our guidelines, but unfortunately, there's going to be some positive cases. Our goal is to isolate those and keep schools open. So all in all, great opening first week of school, and we look forward to a full year of in-person instruction.
Damien, can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
One of the parents from the pre-K had called me. So as far as pre-K kindergartners, the young ones, if it's a bad winter and they come to school with runny noses and, a cold, how do we determine if that is COVID symptoms or it's just a cold? Like, what will they determine, the Department of Health? How do we?
So we have sent communication out to our families, letting them know if they have any of those symptoms, that they should keep their kid home that day. If they send them to school with a runny nose, any fever, any COVID-like symptoms, and we gave a list of what those are, then they're going to be sent home. So the health department, any fevers, runny noses, diarrhea, there's a bunch of symptoms that get flagged right away.
Right.
And, that's when they said, let's stop for a second there and see what's going on.
All right.
Damon, I have a question. The classes that are being shut down, are we going directly virtual?
Yes, so we're in the process of getting them all their Chromebooks and they will be virtual.
Perfect.
Anyone else?
All righty. We're scheduled here on the agenda to go into the work session, but we do have an addendum with action items. So I'd ask for a motion, please, to dispense with the regular order of business.
Motion, Lisa?
Thank you. A second, please.
Chavez?
Thank you. Any discussion? All righty. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, so if we could move to the addendum items, please. We have the two action items, 9/14/2101 and 9/14/2102. May I have a motion, please?
Motion, Lisa?
Thank you. Second?
Second Ortega?
Thank you. I'd just like to say, that Amanda was a very hardworking board member. She gave a lot of her heart to it. I'm sure she's disappointed that she probably, her work schedule and everything is busy enough that right now it's difficult for her to serve in the capacity that she wants to. So I admire her. I'm sure that was a very difficult decision for her to step down. Lisa?
Yeah, I wanted also to say a few words. Amanda actually would be here 6 years in October. She came on October 15th. I've worked with Amanda for 5 years. Kathy's worked with Amanda for 5 years. Eileen. I just want to list a bunch of her accomplishments because sitting on this board over the past 5 years, we've accomplished a lot and she was a part of it. We renovated the front of the high school and the parking lot. The new gym and the bleachers were a part, the weight room, the science lab, the temple, and acquiring St. Joe's. So I'd like to thank her. She put a lot of hard work into all these things that we did, all of us did, and everybody up here. It's not easy, coming out, giving your time, but she did it. And I want to say thank you to her. And like I said, she was a great asset to the district of Bogota. So thank you, Amanda.
Yes, thank you, Amanda. No, she did a great job too with negotiations
Yes, she did.
for all of that. She
Uh-huh.
did. All right. With a motion on there, do we have any other further discussion? Have a roll call, please.
Mrs. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Coles,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Miranda,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega.
Yes.
Now, Ms. Ruckett joined us. We are voting for the action items 1 and 2.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Mr. Chavez,
Yes.
Mrs. Van Buren,
Yes,
motion carried.
thank you. Now if we can go back to the regular order of business. On minutes, these will be voted on next week, August 31st. The regular open session. Did anyone have any questions on the minutes? No? Okay, so we'll move them to consent. We're not voting on any of the rest of things tonight. This is all, we'll all go to consent for next week. Alrighty, number policy, 921-2101 through 921-2113. Everyone have any questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So I had a question on 13. On the testing, who will be providing the test and at whose expense?
So we found a company that we're going to be able to use that will test everyone for free. We're going to set it up. Everyone's going to have the opportunity to come to us 1 day a week or twice a week if necessary, or they can go to their own primary doctor or whoever they choose. But we will provide an opportunity after school for everyone to get tested to meet the mandate. And it's through a company that does it free, that's getting federal money that we're working with.
Okay, and one other question, still on 13. How will the results be reported and stored to maintain HIPAA?
So right now, we set up a Google form that everybody has to supply us with a vaccination card. And then anything that is given to us, it's the deal that we're making with the company that they will be allowed to share the results with us in an email.
Ladies?
Those are the only 2 questions.
Great. Okay, so we'll move 1 to 13 to consent. Moving on to education, 14 through 19. Anyone have any questions on 14 through 19?
I do, Kath.
Yes.
19.
Okay,
Can we have a little explanation on 19?
So this is what we used to have the Buck Boosters run, but since they are not operating that anymore, any money made from the snack stand goes to the athletic scholarship awards that we give out at the end of the year. We need someone to coordinate it, buy the food, run it each game. So this was something that was brought to me a couple of years ago, but last year we didn't have any games, so we didn't run it.
Is this just for football?
As of right now, yes.
Can I make a recommendation? I mean, I know that we don't have many home games. I think the sports, the different programs that we're doing it, like volleyball would sell 1 game, basketball, different sports run it instead of paying $1,000. I think we could put the $1,000 maybe into the food and have each sport make a profit
I mean,
as they work it.
I know, but we're trying to run this for the scholarship fund. In the past, we've tried to get sports teams to come out and do it. We haven't had a lot of success. To run it properly, it feels someone has to run it and man it. So this is the recommendation that we came up with to make sure that it's profitable and it's run properly.
So just on that, this is going to be one person that's going to be running this for the entire school year?
For football season right now, yes.
Okay, and this is what this person will get paid?
Yes. They get like a contracted rate of $40 an hour if you work it out with shopping beforehand, prepping, the games itself, the cleanup, getting people to help volunteer and help you out. It works out to be about right.
any other questions? All right, we can move those to consent. On to personnel, 921-2120 through 25. Any questions?
Oh, I do. Sorry. What happened to the custodians?
One was a substitute that was not working out, and the other one was we hired, we gave him the summer to get it together. We have a real building and grounds guy now, so he's able to monitor them constantly and check in on them. And Was given a couple of chances and was not happy with him, so we're moving on.
Any other questions on 23, 25? Right, moving into finance. 26, if we can move those to consent. Irfan. And on finance, 26 through 38. Obviously, we'll get more information on those by next meeting, so we won't put those to consent, but does anyone have any questions on what is there? No? All righty. We can move on to committee reports. Does anyone have anything, question or concern with committee reports? Old business? New? Okay, new business. Couple things. I had sent you all an email about New Jersey school boards. My glasses keep speeding up. About New Jersey school boards. And I have been able to attend and speak on behalf of our board and so forth. Once I do leave, which could be soon, my house is sort of sold. You'll need a new delegate amongst you. And you'll also need somebody to start attending the county meetings and you know, share and get our information and things that need to go on. So if anybody has any questions about what I do with different things, most of them are just attending and listening and learning, sharing anything that's pertinent. When there's a vote, like at the delegates assembly, I had run past questions past the board for a consensus before I would vote. So things like that. So once I'm not here for that in policy, I've been the real nuisance person on policy all these years. But without being here, somebody else has to be a nuisance about policy, because that is our job. Policy is our job, not running the district, not picking out, you know, different people and so forth, but policy, that is our job. So think about that. I'm very happy to help out in any way I can going forward. I'm hoping that Matt Lee can be scheduled somewhat soon. I would have liked to have attended that, but again, I don't quite know what my schedule is. I probably, I know that you all need to plan forward, so I would like to stay on for as long as possible, but we do have a potential buyer. Next week could be my last meeting, so I don't want to hold any of you up insofar as if you want to start considering, you know, filling another seat. And also, obviously, then you'll need to, forgive me with the mask here, you'll need to obviously elect a new president by the same process of nomination and so forth. Just whoever is, you know, president, I know you're all new and you have new people coming on, so it's going to be a transition. You're going to need to depend on Damian and Irfan significantly, but you know, the president has no more powers, no more authority, no more rights than anybody else does. You just run the meetings and you sign what needs to be signed. You know, it's not a clear head to go in and spend time at the board office or ask them, you know, what they're doing on their jobs in the board office. Not at all. That's micromanaging. So keep in mind, should be somebody who's in the district, you know, enough to take care of things. And I think that's about it that I have. I will let you know. I should be finding out about my house. I will let you all know directly if that's acceptable by everybody. Because if it falls through, I'd like to remain in the seat if that's acceptable. I don't want to hold you all up. So, all right. I have nothing else, I don't think. No, I think that's all I have. Anybody else have anything else? Yeah, on there? All right. Hearing of the public again. May I have a motion, please?
Motion, Lisa?
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. See? Discussion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, if anybody has any questions on any topic, your name and address, please, even if it's being submitted online.
Antoinette Ramirez.
You're muted, Antoinette. There you go.
Hi, guys. Antoinette Ramirez, 98 Queen Anne Road. I have one question and one comment. So my comment is, I want to say thank you to Mr. Kennedy and the board for getting air conditioners. in Bixby School on the upper floors. Can't tell you what a difference it makes. And it's funny because, you know, first day of school was a little warm and my son didn't complain. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm not going to ask. But, you know, I found out that there's those portable air conditioners and it really does make a difference. And I just want to say how much it's appreciated. So thank you for that. And the only question I have tonight is agenda item 9-21-21-37. C&M door controls for the middle school, $15,000. Just wondering, I know we're only leasing the building for 5 years. How did we get stuck with a bill like that and not the Archdiocese?
So the fire inspector came in, we had to put fire doors in and order them. So right now we're negotiating with the parish to
Okay.
get that refunded to us or credited to us. So it's a process, but we had to move this process along to get approval from the fire company and the fire inspector to open up our building.
Got it. And like you said, we're going to look to recoup at least some of the money.
Everything we put in there that is adding value to the building, we are trying
Fantastic.
to, we're negotiating. I could say Irfin is very good at when we go in and say, this is adding value. We can't lease the building if these things are not in place. So we're trying to get credit on everything that we have to add, but we need the space, right? We're at an all-time high student-wise, so we have to move things along because we are going to be there the next 5 years. So if they're going to fight with us over something, when we leave, we'll take them with us.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Oh, I got more hands.
Okay.
I just see iPhone. I don't have a name. Please state your name and address, please.
George Nunez, 203 Central Avenue.
How we doing?
Good, good. So I would just like to chime in. Also, thank Amanda Montgomery for her service. 6 years is a long time, week in and week out, to dedicate. No compensation. You know, a lot of times, you know, people tend to disagree and voice their disagreements. And, you know, sometimes our volunteers that serve selflessly, you know, get a lot more than what they bargained for, particularly when people don't agree. You know, everybody wants our community, the school community to do better, to, you know, make all kinds of wonderful things happen. But, you know, sometimes we all differ in terms of, you know, how to get there. There's no denying that there's been a lot of improvement in the Bogota schools. My family and I moved into Bogota 20 years ago, and there's been vast improvements. And I think our educational system is much, much better. I think it's a great thing that we're getting more people involved. I think that needs to be an ongoing process. You know, no one individual really has any special sauce other than, you know, the willingness to help and to get educated in terms of how things work. And, you know, I thank every single board member, every member of the administration, past and present, for everything that they do for our community. And I urge members of the public to get involved, you know, to learn how things work and to get involved, because you know, no one's going to come from another community to improve our community. So, you know, I thank you, and, you know, a debt of gratitude to everybody serving. And Kathy, good luck on your future endeavors.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Thank you. Idialisa? Oh, sorry. Idialisa?
Yes, hi, good evening. I'm Elisa's husband, Andoni Dimitriadis, 43 Pine Street. I just wanted to go over something that happened this week with my son before I decided to participate tonight. I reached out to Mr. Kennedy directly to ask this question to make sure that there was, in fact, clarification on the governor's mandate. The mask requirements are very specific from Governor Murphy. It is, I could read it tonight, I have it in front of me. It's inside the building, not outside. And it seems like that's completely being ignored. We drove by last week on day 2, day 3, the kids were playing outside for gym. It was over 90-degree weather and they were all wearing masks. And then to top it off, we had a crossing guard not only threaten my son, but ridicule him because his mask was not on the sidewalk. Other people want to wear masks outside, that's fine, but that's not what the governor's mandate is. And we'd like for that to be clarified with the principal all the way through down to the crossing guards. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I did stress that to our principals already regarding that. We tell these students they're allowed to take them off. Some of them are cautious to take it off, but again, and please give me a call and let me know what street that crossing was guard that said something to you tomorrow, please.
Thank you.
Asia?
Hi, good evening. Hello?
Oh, hello, we hear you.
Hi, yes. So I had a question about, there was something brought up with a couple of parents about just address verification and investigations. I know that, we have a lot of overcrowding in our schools. We do have the new buildings and housing. However, some of this overcrowding has happened before that. And how do we have someone that actually continues to verify students? Several parents, not myself included, we've witnessed people walking past the Bogota lines when they're coming to bring their kids to school, even dropping them off. Once before, I've even seen people get off New York City bus to come to Steen School. Do we ask families to continue to verify their addresses? We all pay a lot of money for property tax. And one of those benefits is our great Board of Education that we have. And it's unfair if we have crowding in classes and we have people that do not belong within our district. So do we have someone that takes care of that? And is there a way for us to continually have that updated?
Yes, we actually do have someone that anytime that there is so if you see someone that you think is not living in Bogota, if you mention it or send an email to the principal files a report, and we actually have someone that will check the houses that they're on record or supposed to be staying at. We'll make them re-enroll sometimes. It's also something as a district that we talked about at certain grade levels, making them re-enroll maybe when they first come to school, when they move to the middle school, and when they go to the high school. So we do catch some families living out of district and they're told they have 2 weeks to leave or they have to start paying tuition. So it is something that we are aware of. Anytime that it is brought, we investigate. But the re-enrollment process is something that we talked about at certain grade levels to see if we catch anyone that moves.
Could you
thank
please
you.
provide your address for the records, please?
220 Larch Avenue.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if Lisa, did you want to speak again?
Yeah, this is Idalisa Dimitriadis. I just wanted to ask a question. I have a younger child, he's 5 years old, and it seems like, I don't know if it's him that he's overwhelmed at what's going on because it's a new school and he missed his preschool years because of COVID. But he's coming home not eating anything. And I know that there's been phone calls to Steen about, is there enough aides? Are they walking around helping the younger children? I don't know if there's like other ideas, if there's not enough staffing. But if that issue can be addressed during, like, for the younger population that can't open their things, or I mean, just to make sure that they're eating well for the day.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely something we can look at. Obviously, we just, I know in kindergarten, we just opened up a third classroom. We're just waiting for the teacher to be released from their district. When a teacher resigns, they have to give 60 days. So right now, we're expecting that third kindergarten section to open up, because right now the numbers were at 25, and those are too big for me in kindergarten. So I'll take note of that. I'll reach out to the principal, make sure our guidance counselors are stepping in with the younger grades, especially early in the morning and at lunchtime, checking in on them and keeping a closer eye. So I thank you for that.
Okay, thank you so much.
I don't, oh, wait, there's one question in the Q&A. Christine Meadberg, just please put your address in it so we have it for the record, but there's a crossing guard aide at Steen, older lady. She's reprimanding the children if they have their mess below their nose outside on the playground. I heard her threaten to send their kids to the office and have it seen. All right, we will definitely address that immediately. Oh, hold on. You got it? I don't see anything else, Kathy.
Alrighty, if we have no more questions, may I have a motion to close hearing the public, please?
Motion, Lisa?
Thank you. Second? Thank you. Any discussion?
I do, regarding the address verification. Is there a procedure that he has to follow when he investigates? Is there any way we can get that passed out to board members, just so we can see what they have, what the guidelines are and how
So-
he,
So literally, it just is if you know, a lot of times a kid will say something at school and the teacher will report that to the principal. So the first thing we do is we sit on the house for a day or two, see the kid coming and going from school. If they're not coming and going from school, we call. I think what a lot of confusion a lot of times is, and you know, if a parent is divorced, right, they live in two different areas. They could go to either a district that they want, because one parent lives in Bogota, another one lives somewhere else. So they could stay with their parent in New York City, but come to Bogota schools. This is something we fought with the county. It is not where you lay your head every night. So it's more if you can produce a lease or a bill and they have to get it notarized by a landlord, it's very hard for us not to. If they're living in Bogota and they, you know, they lose their house and they become homeless, we are now responsible to pick up that tab wherever they go and bus them to school. So when we catch the students, there are a couple that we prove that they moved out of district, they have to move or pay tuition. Once you send a letter saying you can fight this, come to a board meeting, say I live here, but 9 times out of 10, when we catch them and they're out, they're out.
now, I know we had an incident a few years ago where he could not go into the house, correct? They're not allowed to investigate inside?
No,
Right.
but you could, so in other words, they got to get to school. So again, so I've had it where a parent is divorced and they're staying with the other parent for the week because it's their week or it's weekend. So a lot of times there's a lot of different situations, and you know, if a parent's living in Bogota, we can't do much.
I think it might be coming down to friends and relatives. I think that's what.
Well,
people
that's
are-
different. So if it's the friends and relatives, then we can go after those kids. You know, and I don't mean go after the kids,
Right.
but
No, that, I
I
get it.
agree with someone that taxpayers are paying for the school, so. But it is something as a district that we talk about asking every student to re-enroll. But that's a big process, like, you know, so, but that's something that we talked about that we want to do in moving forward and different, pick a certain grade level. Or out of district kids that we're paying tuition for. they go out in ninth grade, we really don't have any other communication except where we send that bus. So that's something that we're saying, we want those kids to re-enroll. Because if you catch 1 or 2 kids that move, that's $100,000. So that's what we're looking at.
Right.
No other questions? You good? Rainey,
I'm good.
we're good? Okay. May I have a motion to close hearing in public, please?
Motion, Lisa?
Thank you. We did that. Forgive me.
Oh,
We
did
had
that.
discussion. Forgive me. Thank you. May I have a all in favor, please?
Aye.
And any opposed? Thank you. We have no executive session? No need for an executive session. So may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion, Lisa?
Second?
Second, Idalia.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right, have a good evening. See you next week, and I'll keep you posted of what my status is.